the Scarlet Wolf podcast. This is Scarlet R, and I'm here with my co-host Brown Wolf. We're here during the COVID-19 germ apocalypse, and we're here to hopefully distract you a little bit from all that.
Hello, this is Brown Wolf. Yeah, so the world's on
How
fire
have you
right
been?
now. Good. It's been a little crazy. I'm actually still working during
Yeah.
this whole thing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I believe I've mentioned this before, but I'm a professional chef by trade, and I actually work in a retirement community. And we are the only source of food most of
Oh,
those people have, so just been making tons
wow.
of
So you're
sandwiches
really
and
important.
yeah, it's been a little
Mm-hmm.
nuts there too, just
Wow,
with the restrictions and everything we've had to do.
that's really cool. Um, how much has your job changed based?
Actually, a lot.
Because
Uh,
yeah, the job I got didn't exist before COVID-19, and it probably won't exist after.
I don't know if mine's going back to normal. They want to go back to normal, but so the retirement community I work in is for higher and retired people. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so it was actually basically a restaurant for the residents. But we have
Right.
switched to a completely buffet style. We will. What we do now is we let 10 people at a time downstairs because the dining room's big enough. Um, they stand the 6 feet apart, and then we have one waiter out there serve food, and we're doing a complete buffet style.
Wow.
Yeah, we're
That's
also
really interesting.
yeah, we're also doing a lot of like pre-made items. Like if you went to a deli, like in a grocery store, like sandwiches and you know
Mm-hmm.
meat and all that. Whatever we can sell them.
Right.
Yeah.
So buffet style, like
Have you ever been
I
to a casino or a hotel like breakfast bar?
yeah, that's not what I was confused about. I guess I was confused about how you get everybody in the retirement community through if
Oh,
they all have to stay apart. It seems like it would take a long time.
it's a big facility, and it does. We start. Let's see. I think we have someone that I start at 12, but I think we believe we have start at 8. So from 8
Mm-hmm.
to about 7:30 at night, we bring in a group of 10 people. I think we have
Right.
about 300 to 400 residents. They don't all eat there though at the same time. They can
Mm-hmm.
order out and stuff. So yeah, so we bring them 10 at a time. I believe is how it's working right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then they just stand far enough apart in a line, and that's how we've been doing it.
Right. Well,
Yeah, I know the other kitchen we
question
have.
and
Oh, go ahead.
no. I said question answered.
Yeah, we have another kitchen. I've only ever worked there once or twice for more advanced, like Alzheimer's patients and people with memory problems and all that. I know they're under
Mm-hmm.
like full quarantine. I'm not completely sure what's
Wow.
going on over there and how they're dealing with it.
Full quarantine meaning like
Meaning like food is very restricted. It was already very restricted and stuff like, but very limited staff. How we have to meet them, suits, all that kind of thing. They're at
wow.
extremely high risk. Those people. They were at extremely high risk before this whole thing.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, um, is there anything else you wanted to talk about the COVID before we move on to like some lighter stuff?
No, really. Um, the whole situation just really sucks, and my heart goes out to all the people who are more affected by it. And, I am. My job was put on furlough, but I was able to find within the next week. So I was really lucky that I'm able to keep working throughout this whole thing. And yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
wish
all.
everyone best of luck as well. I know I am super fortunate to be considered essential staff at this point and still be working.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
And now for the fun stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, Kane started on a bummer note, guys. There, but everything will pass in time.
Yeah, who knows what we'll be talking about 2 months from now.
Yeah. And you know what? I have one news story in here. I will throw in um, about COVID. That's a little lighthearted. I actually thought it was really funny. I think this is
Okay.
so. This is just one of those like shark articles, and it's a it's a little lewd, but
Shock article.
like just one of those outrageous. It's not really news. It's just someone doing something really stupid.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
My
actually
my
the
dad.
majority of.
Yeah, my dad sent me this actually. But here. Oh, I sent it to the wrong channel. I will edit.
Oh. What?
Okay, so this.
You can have that headline. It's a great headline.
Yeah. So this woman in New York has decided why the streets are abandoned and there's no cops that she would put on a cowboy hat in the middle of I think this is in Wall Street. Uh, Ride the giant bull statue completely naked. Seems
uh,
like a way to get a
that's a
bunch of
really good
diseases.
way.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's just not a good idea to do that right now because like how many people have
Do you,
touched that bull
do you
and
think it's ever been a good idea? Like,
how
how many
has it
other
ever been
diseases are
washed?
in there? I don't know if that thing. I don't imagine someone goes and washes it.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it's not covered in like, pigeon stuff. I don't want to actually say it, but
Was it a political statement?
let me look. I don't think so. I think she's yeah. I'm not seeing anything. I think she just did it to get attention. I think this was at a time when it
Hmm.
was because I know it's a little older when the virus was just starting to be bad, but they started the quarantine in New York. I think she believed it wasn't that bad. But that's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Now I do
Yeah.
know because I went to New York once. They actually in certain parts, at least in Times Square, they're okay with public nudity, at least topless.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
yeah, I went there. That's a thing that some people do. That they take pictures with a bunch of body painted people, or there's this guy who just walks around in a cowboy hat. It's really weird.
And just a
I think sometimes he wears tidy whities in other areas, but that might have just been a joke by my cousin, but I didn't see him. It's just like he's like a local fixture, apparently.
okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, but just something to lighten the mood a little bit.
Yeah.
To,
I've always been curious about body paint. Like, how cold does it get? Do you still bring a sweater for like when people aren't looking?
yeah, I have no
These are the
idea.
questions we need to know.
I I had my entire face painted once because I was a zombie in a zombie run once.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, it was real fun. I scared the hell out of
Mm-hmm.
some people.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
actually a really big guy in like real life. I'm like 6'4", so some people usually get like intimidated by me. I don't know why, but
Wow. I'm much smaller. I'm only 5'5".
hmm. Yeah. Okay, so I guess we can start with what we watched this week. I have been watching a lot of stuff because hours have been reduced.
Right. And there's nowhere to go, so you might as well.
Okay.
So what have you been watching?
Okay. We'll start with the movies I watched with my parents when they came over. They still ran on Redbox because they have bad internet where they live. So one
Oh,
I
yeah.
yeah. So one I got was Jojo Rabbit.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's one of the movies that I really wanted to see. It's about a kid who's I forgot what the actual not the camps. I
Oh,
forget what the
Hitler Youth
actual
is what the name
Hitler
is.
of the Youth, that's right.
Yeah,
It's
that's what
such a
it's.
bizarre part of history and
It
like
is. I did want
really.
to yeah. So I did want to go into World War II history. So the Hitler Youth camps were more. They did train soldiers and did horrible things to kids, but one of the worst reasons they had it was the boys and girls camps were not separated, and that was done for a very specific purpose. The Germany realized that it was not having enough soldiers, to supply its army. So,
That's bizarre.
well, yeah, you can get 2 to 2 together. Young boys,
Right.
young girls at a camp.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah, a lot of effed up shit.
yeah.
And Jojo Rabbit does not stray away from that. Uh,
Really?
yep. They don't go into it. Uh, Jojo himself is only in the camp at the very beginning, and then something happens and he cannot join his friends. This is during the basically the push into Germany, so the final days of the war.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Jojo is been kind of brainwashed into the German machine, but he finds a young Jewish girl living in his walls that his mother is actually sheltering. And from that, he starts
Right.
to question a lot of the stuff that has just been kind of forced upon him.
Mhm.
Uh, there's a
You're forgetting the
yeah,
strangest part of the
yeah,
movie.
I'm getting to it. So one of the biggest parts was, and probably one of the best performances in the movie, is JoJo has an imaginary friend, but this imaginary friend
Yep.
is Adolf Hitler.
Yep.
Yeah, and
And he acts like an imaginary friend.
oh yeah, he acts like completely like an imaginary. At one point, he even eats a unicorn.
Oh no.
Yeah, yeah. But that's the amazing thing about this actor is he's really really goofy to a point, but the more JoJo starts questioning his actual Adolf Hitler's beliefs and what he's caused and all that, he becomes literally
Mhm.
more like Hitler. There's like one part where he does a very famous Hitler speech, but other than it not being in German, it's like almost spot on with the same kind of conviction. Yeah, whoever
Wow.
that actor is, and I'm trying to look him up in a minute, gave an amazing performance. Pretty much all of the actors were
Yeah.
across the board. I love and again, I'm terrible with names, but I love the mother. I love the little Jewish girl. there's this colonel in this movie that's acting kind of like JoJo's, kind of like his father figure. His father's not in the picture. He went missing at some battle. Seems like he might have deserted. It's never really super confirmed. I think maybe at the end it's confirmed whether or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
But,
that's spoilers, so.
oh yeah, I'm sorry.
It's a
I'll
good
put a
thing it's not
spoiler.
confirmed.
Yeah, I'll put a spoiler warning.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah, I didn't think that was a
I
major
didn't
part
mean
of
to
the movie.
derail. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. I don't think it's that big of a plot of the movie.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Then maybe it's not spoilers.
Yeah,
I don't know. I haven't seen this movie yet. I
would
want
definitely
to.
suggest it. I'm not going to go into some of the deep. There's a lot of deeper parts I really like, but they're all really. It goes from really funny to like really sad.
Yeah.
And then there's parts of the movie because JoJo's so imaginative that you can't tell whether it's actually happening or the stuff is so traumatic to JoJo that his brain is kind of coming up with, sort of funnier things to happen in there because he can't process it.
Right.
Yeah. So that's pretty much all I have to say on that one. Now, the next one I didn't think I'd have a lot to talk about, but it was actually really surprising. And it's weird to go from
Okay.
Jojo Rabbit to this. But are you familiar with the Will Smith movie Spies in Disguise?
No, that one I've never heard.
Okay, it's an animated movie by Blue Sky, the people who did
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, is that the one where he turns into something?
He turns into a pigeon.
He turns into a pigeon, right? Yeah, I mean, that one looked like it would be okay. So, like,
Yeah,
I don't know. How is it for
So here's the thing I'll say. I did not have high expectations for it. And it's nothing like it's not like Pixar, movie, but the ideas in there at least like the gags and like how the story flows is actually very original. I've never seen any stuff like that before. Even the concept I've never actually seen like this before. Yeah. But now the lesson and like the story beats, I guess is how you would say that, are your typical like movie, like your kids movie kind of stuff.
right?
I don't even think.
Is there a liar revealed? Because that's pretty.
No.
Does somebody lie and then?
I know what you're talking about, and it does that utter trope, where it's like, basically, like in Wreck-It Ralph, the main character bonds with the other character, but towards the end, he has to kind of betray him to save him, if you get what I mean. And, he does it without explaining, you know what I mean? Like in Wreck-It Ralph when he destroys the car because he's actually trying to save the character.
Yeah.
That old cliche.
In this movie, or does it actually work? Or is it still the villain misguiding? Oh, that's spoilers for Wreck-It Ralph. What's Wreck-It Ralph? No one cares.
Oh, Wreck-It Ralph came out in like 2014. We can spoil that. Actually, I don't mind spoiling. I think we're gonna spoil Spies in Disguise because unless you want to see it, Scarlet, because I don't think you can probably predict a lot of what happens in it.
It's not the kind of movie that I would mind spoiling for.
Okay.
So I'm all good. Okay.
So the basic premise is Will Smith is basically 007. He's the best spy in the world. And during a mission, he he's pulling off a bunch of like fancy fighting moves, but then he uses this one gadget, and he thinks this gadget's gonna cause an explosion, but it actually just reveals like a cute video of kittens that actually does distract the guards.
Okay.
So when he gets back from his mission, he goes into the gadget lab and asks who made it, and that leads him to a character. I believe his name is Walter, and Walter's whole thing is that he believes there's better ways to take people down. You don't have to do it violently. And he gets fired. And then Will
Aw,
Smith.
poor guy.
Yeah. So then Will Smith goes up to talk to his like bosses and give him whatever the MacGuffin or whatever the gadget. I can't remember what it was called. And finds it was stolen. And the agency is blaming him for it because they have footage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they have footage of him like attacking some base, and it turns out it's the villain with like a shape-shifting thing. So anyway,
What?
I don't want to go into like the whole plot summary, but he found out and when he met Walter, he found out he's working on something the cloak spies. He thought it was like an invisibility thing, but turned out it was a pigeon serum, and he accidentally drinks it.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So
Well,
and I
that's
actually
one way to ruin your Saturday.
yeah, that scene is actually terrifying. And that's what I say when I
Oh,
see like
really?
really yeah. When I say there's really original scenes in that movie. So in like a kids movie, you think he drinks it and he poofs and he's just a pigeon in a suit. No, he
Right.
like you see like a werewolf transformation kind of thing, like in a horror movie.
Oh no, it's a transformation sequence.
Yeah, it's a transformation sequence. He grows the feathers, he shrinks, all that. It's actually kind of disturbing for a kids
Uh,
movie.
yeah.
Yeah. Then there's a bunch. Then just skipping around, there's a bunch of funny things. There's one particular scene I love. They have to track down the bad guy, but Will Smith is now a pigeon, so he can't do much. So
Right.
Walter helps him,
I'm
and
still scarred from the transformation sequence I imagined in place of the
that's
because what you imagine is always worse than what the actual thing is.
yeah, it's not
So
terrible. I've seen worse in horror movies.
it
It's just
was
like
terrible
really,
for me.
yeah. It's like more than like a Goosebumps episode, I would say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
transformation sequences are always like I can't think of any other big ones as far as I guess like the one from Emperor's New Groove is the least terrifying one I can just because of all the gags.
Yeah.
How like Yzma dumps the potion into a cactus vase. Like after a few shots, the cactus looks like, and that's all happening as Cusco is transforming.
Yeah. But yeah.
Anyway, I didn't mean to derail
Nah,
you
you didn't
here.
derail me. There's
Your
just a few things I was gonna
movie
say.
with
Nah, the only other things I'll say is just about like characters and some gags. So they fight this big bad guy who knows who the other villain is, and Walter has like this weird pen that just does a bunch of stuff, but it turns you into like
right.
jelly almost, like one of them. So there's this hilarious scene where there's this giant Akuza guy, and he's actually naked.
Uh-huh.
So so they bring him down with this weird little pen thing that makes you into jelly, and then they have to roll this like 500-pound man as he's like, no, no, I'm naked, to try to block the door because the agency's hunting both of them now.
But they use the jelly pen to
No, they use the jelly
turn it
pen into like limp, into like just a sack of meat. Weird. I don't know how else to describe it.
weird.
Yeah, it's a weird movie. So the other things,
Yeah.
from there it gets pretty standard plot. They team up with some other pigeons. I like the other pigeons. There's one design I really hate. It's really gross looking. And there is one gross out joke I really hate and I will not repeat. There's this Walter has this pet bird that from the beginning, and that's actually where he gets the pigeon DNA from, called Lovey.
Right.
And that is actually one of the best characters in that movie. She is like
Walter's pet bird.
Yeah. So Will Smith can understand the other pigeons, but except for one scene we never know what they're saying.
Right.
And this Lovey bird is very homicidal, B, very thirsty for the Will Smith pigeon, and B, you find out is actually lastly you find out she's an LGBTQ character.
Uh-oh. Is it a good representation? Or
Well,
from the way you're talking about?
No, the thing is, because it never directly comes up, but so Will Smith bringing Walter along to turn him back, and he takes some time to make the antidote or whatever.
Right.
And there's one, and like halfway in the movie, he tries to do it, but the potion thing doesn't work out, and he can't figure out why. And then in a disturbing scene, he finds out Will Smith lays an egg, and Will Smith has been a female the whole time.
Oh, wow.
So you'd have to completely read into it. It's never stated, but that makes me assume that other pigeon is,
Oh.
Yeah, it's actually really subtle.
Yeah, that is extreme. Well, not extremely subtle, but surprising.
It's very subtle. I don't even know if it was intended. But you can read it that way. But
that's why I didn't say it was subtle, since it seems more like an accident.
Yeah.
It would be really well.
Yeah,
but then on the other hand, why don't they just give us gay characters without having to go through all this?
Yeah. I mean, I would say there is one missed opportunity. So that character is very homicidal towards the female character that's hunting Will Smith. Wants to, destroy her all the time. And that's the only time you actually get to see what she was saying. There's one part where she shoots the main villain. And, the female spy, gives it a thumb up. And then you see it was saying, I was aiming for you. Yeah, but they never actually turned that pigeon human like you would think would happen. I think that's actually a missed opportunity. I think it would be really funny. They'd have to do it off screen.
Yeah, maybe in the sequel.
Yeah, because they do actually do something, and this isn't even so. This is a pet peeve of mine, like in old TV shows and stuff. And this is not me being lewd or crass or anything, but it always bothered me when I was a kid. Whenever there is a transformation, usually when there's a transformation, the person loses their clothes if they turn into an animal. But when they change back, they magically have their clothes on. That always bugs me.
Okay.
Doesn't make any sense. In this movie, they don't
Yeah.
do that. They actually address that.
Oh, he's naked.
Yeah, there's a hilarious scene after Walter has bonded and, they've taught each other a bunch of stuff. And he turns him back human so he can fight the villain at the end. And, yeah, Will Smith's naked and he's just hugging him and he's like, dude, this is super awkward. You're naked.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a good movie. I didn't expect to talk about it this much, but I think it's worth like a
And
rental.
what was it called one more time? Spies in Disguise.
Yeah, Spies in Disguise by Blue Sky. I
All right.
doubt there'll be a sequel. I know it was successful, but technically Blue Sky is owned by Disney now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Blue Sky was Fox's animation company.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, wait. We covered that, didn't we?
We covered the Fox acquisition, but we didn't cover Blue Sky. Yeah, so they own, like all the Ice Age movies, which is the only other thing I know them for.
Yeah. Yeah, and I saw the Ice Age movies on Disney Plus, and I was like, oh, I guess that's the Fox movie.
Yeah, I don't know what they'll do with them, though. Maybe TV animation? I'm sure they can use more animators, but I don't know if they would want to use the Blue Sky label at all.
Right.
All they had was Ice Age is their only big franchise, and that's not got a great rep now.
Yeah, after what, 6 movies?
Oh god, yeah, I think so. I didn't even see the last 2, I think.
Yeah, the last Ice Age movie I can remember is the one where they go underground. It's like there's dinosaurs.
Yeah,
and
okay,
I think that was the third one.
Yeah, I think I liked that one, if I remember correctly. I think the last one I saw...
Don't remember much about it.
Yeah, me neither. The last one I saw was the mammoths have kids, and then the lion finds like a girlfriend. That's about it.
So it's the shipping.
Oh yeah.
It's the shipping film.
Okay, well, I'll let you go next. I do have like a couple more things I want to talk to, but I don't want to just be me talking for,
Sure, I can go into one of my things.
Yeah, go ahead.
As far as stuff that I've been watching, the main thing that I watched that I wanted to cover was Time, which is the latest, kind of trashy Netflix documentary about, people who own, big cats. And specifically, it's about these two rivals who own zoos that are dedicated solely to big cats like lions. And one of them is named Joe Exotic. And he hates this lady called Carol. I forget what her last.
So, can I ask one question? Is Joe Exotic from Florida? I have a lot of family in Florida, and that's a very Florida name to me.
I'm not sure if he's in Florida.
There's a lot of wildcat things over there for some reason.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the lady that was in Florida, Carol Baskin, that's what she's called. Sorry.
Oh, it's alright.
It's called, man. That's some powerful misgendering right there. So the show is really interesting. Um, if you want to like get to know some of these people who own big cats, then go ahead. The reason why I watched this was because it was trend. It was like number 1 on Netflix
Yeah, I heard
and
everyone talking about it. Like at work, even my family. I need to get Netflix again to actually watch it.
yeah, and this isn't the first Netflix documentary that started to gain traction. They also one that was about
Making a murderer?
vigilantes tracking down a cat abuse,
Oh.
and that one came out I think in January.
Huh.
But this one more, well, they're both pretty intense. This
Yeah.
one's more weird. Just because you get to see the intimate details of all of these of Joe Exotic's. For example, he's in a polyamorous relationship with 3 people,
Huh.
and I think that is really and uh, yeah, but uh, as the show goes on, a lot of things change, and basically by the end of the show, I'm just gonna go ahead. Um, Joe Exotic ends up in jail for a bunch of different things. Mostly for killing, allegedly. Or I'm not even sure if it's allegedly since he went to prison for it. But yeah, apparently he was putting some of them down when they got sick, and you're not supposed to do that.
Huh.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I'd be really interested
it's
in
a
that.
good show.
Um, so I'm not going to give specific details about it. But there was in an exotic animal zoo with a bunch of wildcats in my the town I currently live in, and
Oh, really?
yeah, I unfortunately never got to go there, but they had to close down after 2 lions had escaped, and then there was like a month search for them.
No way. Did
They caught them, and they never, as far as anyone knows, they didn't hurt any people, and no reported pets, as far as I remember.
okay, that's good.
Yeah. Luckily, we live where I live in. There's a lot of forest and mountain areas, so I think they mostly attacked some coyotes. Maybe got in a scrap with a bear once.
Lion versus bear.
Yeah, I think they. We have a lot of deer here too. I think that's what they mostly fed on.
I feel like I listened to a post-hardcore band called Lion versus.
That sounds.
Maybe not.
That's a good name.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Wolf and Bear. That's what it was called. Pretty good. I'm gonna listen to it again.
Yeah. I'll have to check.
Anyway, did you have any other thoughts on Tiger King?
I still need to see it. I'm very interested. I've gone to a lot of wildlife parks up in Florida before, mostly alligator and all that. But
Oh, I forgot the most important part. There apparently is going to be another episode
huh,
that they're going to release. Apparently because Jeff Lowe, one of the other co-stars on the show, said that another episode was on the way. So that'll be interesting. I'm going to be watching to see when that drops. If it
yeah, I'll have to check it out. Okay. Have you been watching anything else?
Um, I gave My Little Pony a try.
Which one? I
uh,
guess I haven't watched
huh?
any, but which like the one from a few years ago, or like the '80s
Yeah,
one?
the big one, the
Ah,
Friendship
the
is Magic.
Brony
I
one.
think
Okay,
yeah, the Brony one.
never seen.
I watched like two
Seen one.
episodes of it, and I think that that's the only way I'm gonna be able to talk. Just a couple episodes at a time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it gets so sad.
Um, I've seen one episode of that because I wanted while I was running because I wanted to know what the hell the deal was
When you were running.
when it was running on TV.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, how
That would
did
be
you
really
watch it while
hard.
you were running?
I guess if I had one of those VR goggles things, and then I'd probably run into a car.
Yeah, like, uh, oh man, can you imagine?
I'm sure someone's done something like that. I know there was a lot of those Pokemon
Take
Go
me to
people.
your realm, Pinkie Pie.
So how was it?
Um, it's a good show. Um, part of me, is begrudged to admit it because I'm an adult, but it's a well show, really good.
Yeah,
There's still some jokes that kids won't get that are sprinkled in there, but it's not as much as like Phineas, and Ferb, for example.
yeah.
Like I would say, watch Phineas and Ferb over uh, My Little Pony if you have to choose between two cartoons for some.
Yeah. I may have got one that was for just kids because that's what my impression of it was. But I also know
Mm.
the episode I watched was not about the main cast, I guess you would say. Uh,
Oh, okay.
it was about three little like baby.
Well, a lot of the episodes are just them, hanging out in Ponyville or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I
There's not
remember.
a whole lot of plot heavy episodes in that show.
Yeah, but it was just like three little like I don't know what to call them because ponies are like younger horses, but like baby ponies trying to hook up their teacher. That's all I
Fillies.
remember. Ah, fillies. Yeah,
They're called fillies.
yeah. Thank you.
My big sister was really into horses back,
Oh,
so
yeah.
yeah, that's all I had to say there. Anyway,
So I guess I'll go into because one thing you said. So like you said with you were begrudging to say you were enjoying that. On that note, there's something I feel similar about. Uh, I
oh
have been
yeah.
yeah I have been reading the IDW Sonic comics.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome. So these are not the Archie comics, but
yeah, the
the
ones
new
after them.
comics.
So the person I got recommended it from a person known as Delta on the Dice Funk Discord. Um,
Mm-hmm.
both
Yeah, I've seen you talking, and I've
yeah
seen some of Delta's.
yeah she makes good art. Um,
Yeah.
so
So
her
how
and
have the
Squid
comics been
actually
treating you?
they're really good. I hate to admit it. I don't even read comics, but I've started to read these. Oop.
So, is it still the same basic setup? Sonic versus Robot?
Actually, no. And the only reason I know this is well, you are right. It is the same basic kind of plot, but I think because from the Game Grumps thing I watched of it, do you remember that Sonic game that came out where you could like make your own OC?
Yep.
Yeah, it seems to take place directly after that game.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like maybe a month or two after that, but it's really, really good. Which I kind of hate myself for saying because I always thought Sonic and sort of the community, because there is a lot of it, was always kind of a cringy thing.
Yeah. I grew up with Sonic, so I didn't get the whole Sonic is cringy thing. Like, Sonic's always been awesome to me. And then I found out when I went into public school, oh, Sonic is something you can say that you're into without being painted as a certain kind of person.
Yeah.
Which is really stupid because he's just a blue hedgehog who runs really fast.
See,
Like,
that's the thing about this comic I
he's
don't.
got a lot of animal friends. It's fine.
Yeah, that's the thing about this comic too, though. It's like this comic goes really, and it's still for kids, but it goes really deep for a hedgehog that eats chili dogs and is a radical dude from the 80s or 90s.
Yeah, 90.
Yeah. But yeah, I love that comic. There's a and it's maybe bad timing, but there's a whole thing about like this virus going on right now that's turning everyone into robots or liquid metal things.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And there's a
I
there,
mean, speaking of bad timing, I'm reading The Stand right now. And The Stand is about a Stephen King novel about the world dying from a virus.
uh
You're not alone. I didn't
yeah,
even mean to be reading The Stand during this whole thing. I was just starting to reread all of the Stephen King books because I want to tackle the Dark Tower. And then I happened to have The Stand now, and then COVID-19.
yeah. I'm
And
I'm I'm trying to find a picture right now. I posted it in the disc in the Dice Funk Discord when I started reading it. But it's like right as like the whole quarantine thing started happening, there's this one panel that's like, oh no, that's not good right now. It might be too far back.
uh-oh.
Well, I posted it a while ago. I don't have it still saved in my phone, or I would just pick it up. But
Okay.
yeah,
Well, you don't have to post it.
yeah. I just thought I would like get your reaction to it. But oh wait, did I find it?
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, with the magic of editing.
Yeah, probably do it. But anyway, I still. So there's one other thing with this comic. I love, and I also hate myself for it. There's these two characters in it, and they're original to the comic. But man, I'm just shipping them so hard, and I hate to say that.
Uh-huh. It's
Yeah,
okay. Your first ship is the worst.
yeah. There's these two characters. They're called Tangle the Lemur and Whisper the Wolf. And
Uh-huh.
man, they're just great. I think they're probably the most popular characters in that comic too, because they have like their own spin-off thing.
Wow.
Yeah, but they're really, really good. And I really, they keep dancing around it because I don't know, because if like Sega's kind of iffy about LGBT like couples or something, but they're like so
Yeah.
clearly meant like to be a couple. Yeah, but that comic's just really, really good. I highly suggest it, and I'm probably gonna keep reading it.
How's the art?
Oh, art's
Because
amazing.
this Archie's really?
Yeah. Hold on. I made. Okay, we're back. I've posted some of the pictures for Scarlet to look at. One of them is a one I slightly edited to be a meme.
It's a little blurry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can't really read it, but I like that you went to the effort of editing it. The man at
Yeah.
Papa John's said they were.
Hold on.
He
I
thinks
did it
they're
on my.
discontinuing. The art style in this comic. Oh yeah, the art style for this comic is really good. Uh, the
Yes.
characters like bend and stretch without going too far off. Uh,
Yeah.
the art is just so much better than like some of the bad
Oh.
Sonic Archie
Did
stuff that I've seen.
did you see me, Squid, and Delta talk about Ken Penners?
1010. What?
Uh, so there's an artist guy in at the RG Comics, I guess they were telling me about, who basically killed the RG Sonic comics.
Oh, right, him. Yeah, I can't go into detail. I
Yeah, I
know
don't
him
know.
from reputation, but I can't name him or anything.
Yeah, no, they were just showing me art of that he did. That stuff is
Yeah,
nightmarish.
some of it, like with Sonic's eyes, are like half the size of his face.
Yeah, that's the really
You
funny
know.
thing. Because they did get me into these comics, but then they keep telling me to go read the Archie ones. But then it's like, you show me this art of like Eggman that looks like, I don't know, like he's a melted toy.
The Archie comics are still good. It's just that that guy's art is really hidden.
Yeah. Well,
And
it's not so much the art. It's that there's like, I looked it up. There's like 400 issues.
yeah,
Yeah. This
makes it a
IDW
little
one
difficult
has,
to
yeah.
get into.
This IDW one, including the one that just released, has 27. I've read all of them at this point. So
Yeah.
it's easier for me to get into them. Okay, so the next thing I watched was My Hero Academia, the new season.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
We watched that too. Uh, so how far did you get?
I don't know if they've dropped the new episode yet, but I got where I think it's the second to the finale. It's when Endeavor meets with the wing guy. I don't know his name quite yet.
Oh, you're at the end of the second arc. Okay.
Yeah.
Cause like we just finished uh the arc with the little girl.
Ah, good arc.
So yeah, I forget what her Eri,
Uh,
I think her name.
yeah, I think it's
Eri.
Arena. I want to say, or Ari. Yeah, I don't know how you pronounce it.
Um, it's definitely ERI. Actually, I remember now,
Yeah,
which is funny because it's one letter off name.
yeah, that was
Uh,
my favorite arc this season. The stuff after it is cool, but it's just not as good as that.
yeah. Uh, I expected it to ended up being a filler arc, because it just kind of smelled like that kind of arc.
The
But
later half is.
then it ended up being really important for just the plot in general.
Yeah, I mean, there's literally what I call a beach episode in there. If you're familiar with that term.
Oh, is that after
Yeah,
the
it's like
Saving Eri arc?
yeah, it's a few episodes after that. Yeah,
Okay, we didn't get to that.
yeah. I won't spoil it, but
Oh, thanks, because those plot-heavy beach episodes are so important.
well,
You never
that
know what might be revealed. Like somebody might turn out to be somebody's. somebody might go into a coma. You never.
Yeah.
That's what happens during each
Hopefully,
episodes,
Balls
right?
goes into a
Really big,
coma.
important. Huh?
I call him Balls. That really annoying perverted character. I can't ever remember his name.
Oh yeah, I can't remember his name.
So I'm gonna steal this
Bob.
from. Yeah, I'm gonna steal this from the Castle Super Beast cast. There's a guy on there named Pat that described it perfectly. That is a character that only exists to die from the last villain, so there's more stakes.
Oh man, I mean, you're not wrong. That's definitely what's going to happen to that character.
There's no
He is so
redeeming
screwed.
him.
Except for when he dies to save Deck.
That's the only thing.
Yeah.
And this is a series where they
He really
redeem.
is annoying.
Yeah. I can't believe it. It's a series where they redeemed Bakugo of all characters. And they can't redeem him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's his own fault too.
Oh
He
yeah,
needs
it
to
is.
lay off.
Yeah. I mean, on the internet I joke around with kind of being lewd, but if I was like that in person, my god, man. Surprised you didn't get your ass beat.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So,
So who's your favorite Boku no Hero Academia? That's
uh
right, I dropped the
All
Japanese
Might.
title because I'm OG. Like
Yeah. All Might's my favorite.
All Might. Yeah. All Might is pretty great. I
Yeah.
guess I meant as far as,
Oh, like the
but
students?
yeah.
Uh I like what's her name? The pink girl.
Uravity.
Yeah, yeah, I think
That's
that's
her
what.
hero name.
Yeah. Well, I can't
I,
ever remember Deku's actual real name. I know it's not actually Deku. It's like Ikaza or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can't remember it either.
yeah. Of all the students, she's probably one of my favorites. I like Froppy a lot.
Yeah, Froppy's pretty great.
There's some other ones I don't care for so much. Uh, like they do a lot with him this season. Not in your arc, but in the next arc, they actually do a lot with the French guy. Though I still don't really get his deal.
Yeah, we got a few episodes in, so we've noticed that like they're putting more of a focus on him. And that's
Yeah,
interesting, but it's the French guy. What's he gonna do?
I liked Deku fine enough. The first few seasons I thought he was a little too much of a crybaby.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I get why he's like that, but he cries way too much.
Yeah, it's true.
And then Bakugo is insane for the first few, but they do a really good twist with that, which I actually like.
Yeah, they do a good job of dealing.
My favorite character this season though had to be Fat Gum.
Oh, Fat Gum. Yeah, he was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I liked how caring he was for everyone. And then when he got depowered, that was also really interesting. Just see.
yeah. I don't even know that's technically depowered, but
Oh yeah,
yeah, his power is actually really cool.
right. What was his power again? Like, what's the formal definition? Because all I can remember
Uh,
is that.
it's a little loosey goosey, but so he can absorb attacks into himself with his fat. But then I also guess if he takes enough damage, or he can just do it anyway, he can launch it back at them like twice strength.
Right.
I guess he can also hide things in his fat because that's how Red Riot gets in there. I can't remember that kid's name either.
Well, let's just go with Red Riot. That's a rad name.
Yeah, he's actually probably my second favorite character. Which
Oh,
is
really?
yeah, well, because he's like a
I
nicer
didn't care
Bakugan.
that much for him.
I like his attitude.
Alright, so what's next?
Oh, okay. I was just gonna ask who your favorite was real quick, but
Oh, yeah. I can answer that. Okay, maybe I can answer that. Uh, Part of me just likes the Invisible Girl just because that's hilarious to me. Uh, Still don't understand how she's ranked so high.
yeah,
Um, but honest answer is probably Gravity.
yeah. So I'm playing a D&D campaign, or not role playing campaign. I guess we don't have any kind of like rules or anything right now. But there's a character I play in there. It's not one of the main ones, but is almost directly inspired by that character.
By Fat Gum.
No, by the Invisible Girl.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Gotta love those ruleless RPG.
yeah.
I've played a few of those in the past. So.
Okay. So the last thing I'll probably talk about, um, is
Right.
Doom 2016.
Oh, you played it?
Yeah, I'm sorry, not Doom 2016. I mean Doom Eternal. I played both.
Nice. So how's Doom Eternal? What makes it different from Doom 2016?
A lot actually. I would actually say Doom 2016 is a lot better. Unfortunately.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Doom
What
Eternal is
makes
still a great game.
the
I want to say that, but so
what makes the quote-unquote original so much better?
they added a little too much to this one to try to make it different.
Oh, yeah? What'd they add?
A lot of platforming. This is the
Oh,
first
really?
thing. Yeah, that's my first big complaint. And I love platformers, but it's very
Right.
unbalanced in this game. So you have a double jump, a dash booster in the sky, like a little yellow cube you can get. And I'm on the last level, and they introduced another dash, like a portal thing that makes you faster. And you have to
Oh,
be,
wow.
yeah, and you have to. This is hard to describe, but you have to be very precise with what they want you to do. So it's not like you can just double jump, dash. You have to like dash, double jump, dash in that order, or it won't work.
It sounds frustrating. Like
Yeah,
memorizing fighting game combo.
yeah,
Can never get those down.
yeah. And then there's like pipes you have to swing off of, and the
Uh-huh.
really bad thing they did is they have these walls you can kind of climb, like climbable surfaces. If you've ever had a game with one of those before,
Yeah,
but
totally.
yeah, but when you jump to it, instead of just automatically clinging to the wall, you have to hit a button. But the button is the same button as the melee, like just hit the demon with the butt of your gun kind of button. So half the time you'll
I
end
can
up hitting.
see how that could get mixed up.
Yeah. Other than that, also, so that's a big issue. The other issue is there's a lot of just stuff they threw in there, I think, to add more. But it's just
Right.
so much to keep track of. So now in diff- this is different from Doom 2016. The chainsaw used to be a weapon to its own. Now it's kind of your how you get ammo. So you always have one pip of chainsaw gas, and then you can just chainsaw enemies to get ammo. Uh, but you also have to glory kill the demons to get health, and you have to burn them to get armor. And it's
Oh,
all
okay.
separate buttons, and you have to switch. A lot of the demons have like hard counter weapons. Like you can kill them with any kind of weapon, but there's other weapons that will kill them just way faster, and it's just you're wasting time if you don't use it. But then those
Sounds like
weapons,
fun.
yeah, but then those weapons have two mods each on all of them, and the mods do different things, and also are you know for different uses. So yeah, you're constantly
Yeah.
running around a room that has dozens of demons. Like that's the whole main thing you'll be doing other than platforming is that a lot of times the rooms will lock and you'll just be facing like swarms and swarms of enemies while trying to do the platforming and trying to use all the gadgets.
Mm, right.
It, yeah. So it just gets frustrating. And there's some that are just like really hard just to so you can use the gimmicks. Like there's two in particular. There's one enemy you'll come face on like mid game. It's a snake guy, but he will not stand still, so
Right.
you have to use the ice grenade. Problem is the ice grenade only recharges really
Oh, okay.
slowly. Yeah. Sorry, I don't mean to try to go on a rant. This is going long.
Nah, it's cool. Uh,
Yeah.
well, I see what you meant by like it's over too much stuff added in.
Yeah.
Seems like it would be a lot to get used to.
Yeah. I'm almost at the very end. I'm on the final level. They're throwing a bunch of the
Nice.
enemies. Uh, the only other enemy I have a problem with is this. You basically have a Virgil if you've ever played like a Devil May Cry game.
Only once.
Oh, so basically it's an enemy that has very similar moves to you, like a dark knight.
Oh, okay. So shadow you,
Yeah, but
dark side, whatever.
yeah, except for one thing, it has a big shield and like a long range attack. So keeping close to it is not a good idea because it has the shield with a shotgun, and then it has this axe for long range and a wolf it can summon. But the main problem with it
Wow.
is you have to wait until its eyes glow green, and it swings an axe at you to shoot at it. But only
Oh,
one
wow. So
weapon
you
I
have to
found
wait
seems
for the sweet moment.
yeah, but only one weapon I found hurts it, and it's your shotgun, specifically the double barrel shotgun. But our problem with that is that it takes more rounds than you get for that gun, like at full ammo for it. So you have to
Oh, wow.
constantly like go out of your way to find the smaller demons. The smaller demons are basically just there for health and ammo and all that. Chainsaw it. Try to get the ammo. Avoid its attacks after it runs up to you. And you try to get the ammo. And it's a very annoying enemy. And they throw it at you like a bunch.
Yeah. Yeah. I hate enemies like that where they have too much health and it turns into a bullet.
Yeah.
I tried playing BioShock on survival difficulty, and a lot of the enemies ended up turning into bullet sponges.
Yeah.
Like seriously, shooting 18 pistol bullets into a regular enemy kill him, but not in survival.
Yeah. Also, I would say So that is actually a boss character that they just throw in like the old school FPSs. But a lot of the other
Uh-huh.
bosses, excluding the ones they actually do throw in, uh, they're kind of easy. They're not a little underwhelming. Yeah.
What do
Also,
you
this
mean underwhelming?
uh, there was one. I don't want to spoil what it is, but there was one basically where I had to keep just bringing her shield down, then jump up, hit a giant glowing orb, uh, have a reset, and do the same thing like 4 times.
Oh, yeah, that sounds way too easy.
Yeah. She she throws like some wing attacks and some the ground has like lasers on it, but that's about it. Um, Other than that, the game is actually good. The story is really confusing, especially if you played 2016. I don't understand when it's supposed to happen, and a lot of it's just kind of you have to read the weird little journals to understand it, which I don't like. Yeah. Okay. So that's pretty much it for Doom. Did you have anything you played or anything else you wanted to talk about?
Just BioShock. Uh, BioShock's, a classic and everything, but survival mode doesn't really hold up that well.
Hmm.
It just kind of turns into a slog. I
Okay.
gave up about halfway through. No, 3/4 of the way through because I was getting the Big Daddy parts when I gave up. And,
Huh.
yeah, disappointing. I love a good hard game as long as it's hard in a fair way.
Yeah, I
And
get that.
I guess this time just wasn't fair. I don't know.
Yeah. So, I'll see if.
Bought Danganronpa, which is a visual novel series.
Yeah.
Um, and that one's shipping. It'll between the 8th and the 23rd. So I'm gonna be playing that,
Yeah.
and I'll give my thoughts.
Yeah, that sounds cool. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a really great visual novel series about it. And I'm always a sucker for a good death game.
Hmm. Okay. Um. Let me see what story you had here. Get into the little bits of news we have. Um, Disney reshuffles entire schedule. New release dates for MCU movies, Mulan, and more. So I had heard about this.
Yeah, so basically because of the um they've reshuffled their entire release. Mostly what I wanted to cover was the MCU. Basically everything for the MCU was pushed forward once.
Hmm.
So let me see, was it about to be released? I think Black Widow that was coming up, and that one's been pushed to November. And now Eternals is gonna be released in February, which is too bad because I was really looking to return forward to Eternals this year.
Yeah.
And then Shang-Chi is gonna be in May 7th, 2021. And then Doctor Strange is gonna be on November 5th. So that's just the entire release schedule that they have.
Yeah. I was kind of interested in the Black Widow movie. I wanted to see what the deal with that Soviet Captain America was. Also, I love the Taskmaster. Oh my god, Taskmaster. Sorry about that.
I'm not that familiar with the Captain America mythos, and I'm not that familiar with Black Widow either, so going to see it, well, I would like to. It's not at the top of my list of movies.
Oh yeah, no. I'm kind of slightly interested in it.
That's cool.
Yeah. Like I'm also interested in to see the Eternals and Quan Chi, but I have no idea of those anything about those characters.
I just watched this video on the Eternals, but I can't recite what it's about. It's basically like a group of superheroes that nobody thought would ever get a movie release or adaptation.
Oh, that could
So
work well
it's,
though. Worked well with the Guardians.
yeah, it's apparently a really high con thing. A lot of space travel, cosmic heroes, and
Yeah,
the grounded superheroes that were used.
yeah. That was a that's my one like hipster cred I can give. Is
What is that?
I knew
What's
who
your hipster?
I knew who the Guardians of the Galaxy were like way before the movie came out.
Hey man, congrats. Uh, I was into Rick and Morty before it came out. I
Oh
saw
yeah, I was
like
there
the
from
shorts and
episode
everything.
one.
Yeah, I was there from the first episode. Then
I
the
need to see
fan
the
base
season two.
ruined it, just like Under.
Yeah. Well, you know the one thing I like even more cringy than Sonic that I was into, and it wasn't cringy at the start, and I got out, and now I'm embarrassed to admit I was even a fan of it. I was actually a fan of Five Nights at Freddy's before it got, real bad.
Oh shit, me too. You're not alone.
Yeah.
I really liked the first two games.
Yeah, the first two are really good.
Yeah,
I still want to see them.
really solid exercise.
Yeah,
What?
I really still want to see them make the movie. I know the movie's still happening, even though the games aren't relevant anymore.
Yeah. I feel like I already talked about this, but have you heard of the Banana Splits movie?
Oh yeah, I think we may have talked about this during the first episode.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, sorry guys to
I still
repeat though.
haven't seen it.
I've seen a bit
I
of
need to
it.
see that movie.
It's okay. It's a decent for a sci-fi horror movie. At least the bits I saw, it was mostly just like the murders.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
All right.
let me. I'll see. I think I have maybe just one news story. Where was it? Oh, yeah, it's here. Oh, that actually works perfectly. So, Ant-Man 3 has been confirmed with. Let me see. Ah, yep. Jason Loveness, the actual writer and co-producer on Rick and Morty.
Oh wow, that's promising.
Yeah.
I wasn't a huge fan of the Ant-Man movie, the first one, but the second movie, and had, I don't know, the humor clicked for me a little bit.
Yeah.
It's cool seeing Ant-Man getting movies and everything, because I never thought I would see Ant-Man of
Yeah.
all superheroes being adapted for the, but his movies have been really solid.
Yeah. I think that every Marvel character except like maybe the big ones have been interesting choices in the MCU. I think the movies made them more popular than the characters ever were.
Yeah,
Like, sure there was the Hulk.
that's
He was
why
always
it'll be so
popular.
interesting to see what happens post Thanos for the MCU. because like part of me doesn't think the MCU is going to be able to hold itself together after Thanos. Part of me thinks
Yeah,
that it's
I'm
going to
worried
fall
about that
apart
too.
after this.
I still don't have any. We've talked about this before. I still don't have any idea how they're gonna bring in the X-Men now.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. Big fan of the X-Men right here.
Yeah. I wonder if they'll ever. So I was a fan of a show called Agents of Shield.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and in that
I
show,
saw a few seasons of that.
yeah, in that show, their big X-Men killers that they were actually gonna make a movie at one point was called the Inhumans,
Yeah,
and they tried to make a
tell me a
TV
little
show
bit
of
more
that.
about that.
Yeah, so the Inhumans are kind of mutants. Basically, the Creel, which are the blue aliens in like I think they're in Captain Marvel and like a few other movies. The villain in the first Guardians is the Creel. They mutated a bunch of humans like thousands of years ago to be like biological soldiers. But something happened. There was a war, and they left a bunch of them on Earth, and they've changed and alternated over the years. So they're basically mutants. They have to be activated by some kind of stone, but that's about it.
So they're mutants, but the Scientology mutant.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, that show was really good for a while. They had a little issue after they went to space, and then I kind of lost interest. Kind of started getting repetitive.
Yeah.
They had this big issue where Coulson is alive in that show. That's from the very first episode, so that's not like spoiling anything.
Yeah, it's not spoilers. Coulson's alive.
Yeah, but the big issue was the big spark after like the first 7 episodes is Civil War, like Captain America Civil War. So Shield gets disbanded, but Coulson keeps doing things to bring it back, and then they keep getting blamed for things. So the team's smaller. They could never decide where they wanted to bring Shield back or have it be the small team. So they would
Oh,
just
I
keep
see.
flip flopping. Yeah. Because like every other
Right.
season, okay, we've solved the problem, we saved the world, the government's reinstating us. Oh no, Daisy did something and she's getting blamed for a different like Inhumans power, and we have to go on the run again, and Shield's been disbanded again. And it just kind of repeats in that same
Oh,
cycle.
so Shield gets just.
Yeah, it keeps getting reinitiated with the government, and then disbanded. Then there was a lot of
That's
issues.
funny.
Yeah, there's a lot of issues where they would set up villains, but they would be so busy with their storyline that they wouldn't touch on them until much later, and they couldn't get the actors back.
Oh,
So
no
they'd
way.
have, yeah, so they'd have to like do a weird thing. Like I remember this one, they set up this like, uh, basically kind of like, I can't remember. There's a name for the villain, but this weird like dude who could take over people, who gets a power from like a metal cube, and that's like in the first or second season. And by the time they get back to it, they can't get that actor back anymore. So they have to have a villain known as the Absorbing Man absorb him, and then kind of like have his consciousnesses. It's weird.
Yeah, I
Yeah. Then they did the Inhuman show,
gotta
which
love Marvel.
yeah, the Inhuman show. I don't even remember what it was about. I only saw the first episode, but I know it didn't go past like 3 episodes. It was really poorly received.
It only got 3 episodes.
Yeah, but it was about like the Inhumans from the comics. It did tie into the other show, but basically, apparently, a bunch of I guess in the comics, a bunch of the Inhumans colonized the moon and have like a Wakanda on the moon.
That's awesome.
And then and then there's well, actually, honestly, the story of Black Panther, he has a brother who dethrones him, and then they have to go to Earth, and then they have to fight him from Earth.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's what I remember of it. But they were supposed to get like their own movie and stuff. I remember before the whole Fox deal went through. So I'm curious if they'll ever
Right.
touch it again.
Probably not. Not until the far future,
Yeah,
after X-Men is all assimilated and everything.
yeah. Well, that was one thing I kept holding out hope for that never happened.
What's
They
that?
never ever brought Coulson back into the movies.
Yeah, I know, it's awful.
Yeah, I was hoping like even at
But
like Infinity War, like at the end of that, I was like, okay, they're gonna have one little cameo or something with him. That's all I wanted. It was like one little cameo where he shows up or something.
yeah, where he says hi to like one of the guys or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and now if they brought him back, it wouldn't really like have that great of an impact. I mean, like just because of the characters that are gone now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So is there anything else you'd like to talk about, or do you want to wrap up here?
I can't think of anything else to talk about. So
Okay. I think
I
this was
think
a more
that's it.
chill episode.
Yeah, definitely more laid back, that's for sure.
Yeah. Okay, guys. We will see you next time.
Thanks so much for listening.